I've had the pleasure and honor of working with Simone. Simone is currently our Senior Vice President for Agriculture Solution Business for BASF in Asia. In my BASF days when I was in Singapore, Simone used to be not Senior Vice President, but in another role. And I will invite her now to introduce herself, and then we will deep dive into a very important topic, which is dominating the industry today on sustainable agriculture. Simone, over to you. Please introduce yourself to the group.
Yeah, thank you, Surabhi, and yeah, good morning also from my side. And it's a pleasure that in this small world, paths cross. So it's a fantastic thing that we also get across together again. And I think it's the same for a lot of people that have those encounters. So I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really looking to this exchange over coffee, tea, water, or whatever. So quickly some words on myself. I'm with a BASF company next year, really 25 years. So it's my whole career in working. I've been starting in personal care, in the nutrition field, and you know, BASF is the biggest chemical company in the world, and there's so many industries. And after like 10 years in different functions already, always around business, also controlling, I was going to petrochemicals, which is a very different business, getting really into the roots of the chemical industry. And 8 years ago, I joined the agricultural space and fell in love with farming, the touch to the earth, and making really a difference in really nurturing the people on our planet and taking care of the nature. So likely so, we met when I was in Singapore in my times 2016 to 18, when I was responsible for sales and the digital unit. And after some COVID and extended time in Germany, when I was responsible for global communications in the times of the large acquisition and the new setup of BASF in agriculture, combining also seeds, not only crop protection, but also digital, and really transforming this player. I was there. And I'm really, really happy to be back home in my second home far away here in Singapore since this year, and being responsible for the business. So I'm really, really happy to catch up with you now in a different format. Yeah, and it's good morning to you, because I know it's very early for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Simone. Great. So today's coffee catch-up is literally like a coffee catch-up. I have my little glass of water because it's very early for me right now in Dubai, and Simone's with her tea. I hope everybody else in the audience is also comfortable with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And because this is like an exchange of questions and answers and ideas and thoughts, there are no slides. I would sincerely encourage as many of you to put on your cameras. Otherwise, it gets a little lonely. It's almost like Simone and me talking, and we only see names, beautiful names. Alice, Priya, Erica, feel free to please put on your cameras if your situation allows you to. It's lovely to see people in person. Great. So let's get a feel of the room before. Thanks everybody. Let's get a feel of the room. How are we this Wednesday morning? You can go to the chat box and give us a feel. Happy, sad, excited, bored, looking forward, midweek, something in the chat to give us a feel of how the mood is in Zoom today. Happy and waking up. Welcome, Chris. First time to Womang. Any other feelings, thoughts, emotions? If not, I have another question for all of us. When you think of women in agriculture, what is it that comes to mind? Thanks, Katrina. Excited to be here. Thanks, Elim. Looking forward to learning. I'm sure you'll learn something today from my conversation with Simone. Thanks for your responsive. I repeat my question, the second question, which will help us to glide into our conversation today is, what comes to your mind when you think of women in agriculture? Happy and curious is what Priya said. And you might take a few seconds to type this, and I know it's a question that can emote a lot of feelings. What comes to your mind when you think of women in agriculture? If it's easier for you to just unmute yourself and speak, that's okay. It just gets a little unmanaged. So I'm encouraging everybody to go to the chat box. The women farmers is what Erica thinks of. Underserved and huge potential. Katrina says, anxious where to sell produce. Oh, yes. Take a few moments. Invaluable is what Chris says, and maybe undervalued. Thanks, Chris. Any more thoughts on what comes to your mind when you think of women in agriculture? Wow, sustainability champions. Hardworking champions, but underrepresented. The game changer. Patience, curiosity, non-stop learning is what Maria says. And Priya says, she writes to us saying, a critical component of food security and prosperity. Thank you so much for this. It is indeed all of this and so much more that women get to agriculture and the entire food value chain. Simone, you've been in this industry for almost a decade now. And to understand, to get a context of what we are going to share about women in agriculture, about sustainability, would you like to share a little about your role in BASF, what your organization does, and the role that you play, and how this whole puzzle fits together? BASF, sustainability, agriculture, Simone, please talk to us.
Yeah, thanks. I think people here already mentioned what it is about. It's about a game change, right? Because if you really look for what's happening in the world right now and what is needed, it is a massive task that's ahead for farmers, for agriculture, because just in the next 30-ish years, agriculture has to produce as much food as there has been produced in all human history. So, and that is massive. Think about how many years we're talking about in perspective. So when it comes to Asia Pacific, we have like 2.5 billion people that are living in Asia Pacific, and about 500 million are farmers. So they're growing all the main crops, specialty crops. So really, it really matters what they are doing every day, right? It's not like we can choose to go to an office. It's about something happening in the fields, in the greenhouses, So I'm really, really pleased that we here as BASF here in Asia Pacific, we operate in 19 different countries. So really serving from India to China, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia. We deal with the many different types of growers, from the high-tech rice farmers in Japan to the commercial large-scale merchandised wheat farmers, cereals farmers in Australia, to smallholders growing rice, vegetables, you name it, anywhere in China, India, Southeast Asia. So I think it is this game-changing and this new innovation and solution approach that is needed to take care of how do farmers have the possibility to combine all the best technologies, connect them across all that's possible. So for us, it means the connected technologies across the seeds, the crop protection, the biosolutions, and also the digital farming. So to really integrate all of these into the farm operations and the practices in the field, because innovation is only then really a success when it's proven in the field. So you can always, innovate a lot in the labs, also test it out, but when it's really getting into the field, that's when it's becoming really relevant. And yeah, that's actually what we are doing. And we do this all with the priority on sustainable agriculture. And I guess we can talk about this quite a bit more.
Yeah, we indeed can talk. It's a topic that we can do and talk about over multiple cups of teas and coffees and multiple coffee catch-ups. And you're so right when you talk about doing work in the lab, innovating things, which are for the larger good of the societies in which we operate and live, and then making them practical, taking them to the field, taking them to the end consumers, and making it sustainable. That's the beauty, right? That the transformation that comes from the innovation in the lab to the sustainable use.
Yeah, look, I mean, for our company, I mean, BASF has been, the godfather or the inventors of the modern agriculture with the fertilizers, with the ammonia, with the Haber-Bosch synthesis. That's what enabled the modern agriculture with an innovation that was happening over 100 years ago. Now we are not in fertilizers anymore. We sell fertilizer solutions, but not the essence of the fertilizer. We are now offering the seeds, the crop protection, which has been evolved over the decades, the biosolutions and the digital tools to really come up with precision farming, the digital farming elements to bring out the best innovations. Again, taking the best technologies into the field. And we are driven by this sustainability thought. This is ingrained in our DNA, because it's even for BASF, it's the company purpose. We create chemistry for a sustainable future. And here, and you've been part of us and the journey of your life as well. The chemistry is beyond molecules. It is about the connection of all the different ideas, the best resources, from also circular economy, e-mobility, to really make everything to go into a future that's worth living. And for translating it into the agriculture is really about sustainable agriculture, where we have given ourselves measurable targets to boost sustainable agriculture by 2030. And it's all about finding the right balance for success. And for us, that is that farmers make a living, that we take care of the environment for the generations to come, and also for the societies, because the value that agriculture brings to each society, especially in the last years of COVID, people really got a different understanding of the proximity we have with being fed, because there are less people now involved in farming, because one farmer now can really nurture so many more people. So that's also the evolution of society. So whatever we are doing, our innovations, we aim to help farmers to produce not just more yield, because that's what's needed to take care of the arable land that we have, which is limited. But not only more, but better. So really taking the sustainability essence of the economics for farmer, the environment, and the societal aspects into consideration. That's for us better yield.
Beautiful. I think it almost sounds like a beautiful summary, the way you ended with economy, the environment, the society, and how sustainability touches each of them. In fact, you're sustainable only when you're taking care of the economy, the ecology, and the society. Just taking care of one aspect doesn't make any of us sustainable. On that note, Simone, we have a very, very accomplished audience today here who serve the agriculture and the food industry in Asia. So in the Asian context, per se, you are not new to Asia, you're not new to agriculture. What has your experience been? And because you've been in this role, leading this huge team, this huge organization, any experiences, any learnings in this space in your tenure as head of agriculture for BASF in Asia?
First and foremost, it's been great to come back to Asia. I met so many familiar faces. Luckily, also now travel is possible, at least in a lot of countries again. And I also met a lot of new colleagues. And I also recognize there's been a shift that I see also more feeble talents in my organization, but also when I travel in the fields. So overall, there are challenges for the whole industry, but I know that there is a lot of knowledge, expertise, and the ability to adapt. So I'm really looking with a pride and a solution mind into the future, because one lesson that farmers tell us every day is like they have to deal with whatever the weather, the pests, the prices, the supply, whatever is there every day. So it's for me an inspiration to also keep going, to find the best approaches, best ideas, to really encounter what is needed in times of climate change, geopolitical developments, and also the price developments, all of this. There will be a future. We are actively shaping it. And I'm really also looking to make it a space where everyone can contribute. Meaning it's like we need to have every voice heard. That's when innovation, that's when creativity comes in, to come up with new ideas to really make more effective, sustainable solutions, or again, as I said, connectivities. How do value chains work to make it a much more sustainable food production systems in countries, across the countries, and also worldwide. So I'm encouraged when I'm going to the field. So just some couple of weeks ago, I was in Japan, met with rice farmers there of different ages, and it's very, very inspiring to me when I see them like really taking the new technologies. So I met a 74-year-old farmer who really told me, like, okay, Hannes, on his app, the Xavier field manager, where he's showed the plots, the rice plots that he has, very, very scattered also, but also how is now the real data in the field. And he knew exactly when to go where to take care of the crops that he grows, and also then to deploy drone technology. So it's like really, it's alive, and it's across generations where you can see the shift happening. And I think this will be much more going on going into the future. So I really appreciate that all these new ideas really come to life. So that is how I take it.
And I'm always so intrigued when people talk to me about agriculture in Japan, especially the age when people usually retire. All the examples I hear about farmers in Japan is about this 70-year-old farmer and the 80-year-old farmer. It's so diverse. But coming back to sustainability and women and agriculture, and we do have a very interesting question in our chat box from Erica. Erica, thanks for this. We just cannot talk about Asia and not talk about smallholder farmers. So we will come back to that question, Erica. Simone, is there anything specific that you in your capacity or BASF in general is doing for promoting women in agriculture, for accelerating their careers in this whole ag space? Are there a few examples that you can share with us? And I ask this because our audience today belong to the food and the agriculture industry, and they want to be a part of this movement of not just accelerating their own careers, but also the fellow women who work around them, with them. We would love to hear from you about your thoughts on this.
Yeah, and I really, really appreciate everyone here. And I guess you are also reaching out to your networks and sparkle a lot of inspiration and movement. And that's very much needed. So please keep on going. For us as BASF, we have given ourselves true targets in terms of women in leadership, which also apply for the agricultural solutions divisions that I'm a part of, which is on the top leadership level. We have a 30% share of female leaders by 2030. So this has been really systematically then also a priority for pulling through. It's one of the KPIs, which is very, very clear, but it comes with all the processes, it comes with policies, it's becoming an ingrained part of the talent development and also recruiting. And it is also based on the philosophy that there's talent in everyone. And I can only say that because we need all diversity, no matter the backgrounds, the gender. And that is really the fuel how to make it a priority. So in my capacity, when I joined here, I see that there is still room to do something. We have quite some good talents, and I will also make it a priority. Just last week, I was also joining a diversity and inclusion week we had in the company for Asia Pacific, where we also really discussed all of these topics. I'm also joining the Women in Business networks, mentorings. So there's a lot of activities, and we can't just take it for granted. We need to put an extra emphasis. Just last week or the week before, I was also I'm reaching out to very specific team members, female team members that are very rare still in certain units, just to also have the connectivity to know that they are seen. Because I also started, well, 20 years ago, and I was quite often the only woman in units, in meetings and all of that. So I know how it feels, and those moments when people like my female inspirations had this connectivity with me that also helped me keep on going. So that's what I really mean, like your work here matters. Whoever is watching this matters. Make it recognized, to share the energy, to have people keep going, because no matter what, we need all new ideas, and those people that have that are so passionate, that also can make a difference. They need everything we can give them to keep the energy going.
Most certainly, and we need inspiration at every stage, across the whole hierarchy, like you said, right? There are women who are starting in this agriculture and food industry, and there are women at the top like you, and then there are so many of us in between, and we all need inspiration every single day to march on. And like I said earlier, right, it has to be like a movement where we help each other and we lean in to promote and accelerate each other's careers.
Yeah, and also cross-share ideas. I made it a priority to have in succession plans, clearly knowing who are the women that are also possible. And if I see there is not enough representation in a certain pipeline, I give the emphasis to watch out, to do something. And this is something like one of the ideas that I guess there are many more, and to know about them, to to consider them in HR approaches, people's approaches. I mean, Surbi, you have been with me here in your HR capacity. The special attentions, the differences of viewpoints, of perspectives, really make a difference. So I guess there are a lot of good ideas, and exchanging them across forums like this really make also a difference.
Most certainly. And what you mentioned about succession planning, Simone, is such a key topic, because till we don't, the beauty of succession plan is that you identify areas of development, and then over a short term, medium term, or long term, you give those inputs to these women to help them reach the position, the target position. And if we don't have that in place in organizations, it's going to be so much more difficult to just place them in those positions. So it's important to have that succession planning.
And also, it's not a given. It's again, every company is built on the best talents for the right time, for the right place. But having the choice of multiple diverse backgrounded people, including gender, that is really making the difference going ahead.
Most certainly. Erica, please, thanks for your patience. We will come back to that question very quickly. I have one eye on the watch. We have around 10 minutes left for our conversation. And before we open the forum for any more questions that people will have, please put in your questions there. We already have one on smallholder farmers. Simone, today's conversation is going to be so incomplete till we talk about a little more about what you mentioned about sustainability. It's such a key topic in our industry today. And you shared beautifully about how, and this is going to stay with me for a long time, the first thing about innovations in the lab and making them practical and sustainable by application. And the second one about how sustainability, our products, our solutions will be sustainable only when they are economically, environmentally, and also for the society that we operate in, if they touch each of these aspects. This part is going to stick with me for some time. But if you can also spend more about time on explaining to us, talking to the audience about what are the other things that you see in the industry that people are doing for sustainability, or if not in the industry, BASF in general, because you have spoken, of course, in the context of Asia, because that's what our audience is representing today. But in BASF in general, or other parts of the world, in the industry, how are people approaching sustainability? What are the challenges we are facing? We've come a long way, but there's so much more to be done. Your thoughts on that, please?
So sustainability is really the thing on our minds for any industry, and BASF is active basically in all industries in some capacity. It's about how we make best use of the resources we have, and we as BASF are committed to the Paris Climate Agreement and really take the action to aim for net zero CO2 emissions by 2050, and that's a massive undertaking for the chemical industry overall, and I'm really also feeling proud to be part of this, because it really means a lot of changes happening, which are also impacting a lot of our consumer activities in our normal lives, as well as agriculture. If you think about electrification of chemical production, I mean, that goes into basic all produce of goods. So it requires also a shift of enabling policies and the market environment. So it's a lot of really transformative works across the globe and across all industries. So if I look at the journey, and I mean, you can follow the company news, there's a lot acceleratedly happening. By now we have a carbon footprint, a certified method to have the carbon footprint for any product that leaves our company and sold to customers. So with this is the basis for our customers to calculate their footprint. In the end, then also have consumers have another choice to make a purchase decision. So it starts with this, to have something also to share with customers, but at the same time to have something to work for, to optimize as well. Then there's a lot happening around circular economy. As I said, the best use of resources to really get back into the loops, to take care of renewables, recycled materials. Biomass balance is the key word. That could fill a whole bunch, and also bio-based products. So there is a lot happening. It's also the renewable energy, where we really now even more so very important to look how do we invest more into that field, because it's needed to electrify also the processes, so go away from oil and gas dependency for certain chemical processes. A big field where we also all in as a consumer is e-mobility. Think about it, that will also significantly reduce the carbon gas emissions, and by battery materials, which are really helping a lot. But this will also be used in agriculture for sure, because e-mobility is happening there as well, right? We have all the different devices on e-mobility there, from tractors to cars, you name it, it's all there. So there's a lot happening. I think this is a very, very interesting time that we have here to share in these times of transformation, to really come to a much more sustainable world. And I'm really happy that I can be playing my part, that you are here to also make your contribution. And I can only encourage you to look out, be the change you want to see, because the world needs these ideas to to really create a future that we all want and that is worth living.
Thanks, Simone. That was really nice. And also about sustainability in so many different industries, and how when you look at it in isolation, it might not mean anything to agriculture, but it does in so many ways, like the example you gave on e-mobility. Now, in agriculture also, you could translate that because it is touching our lives in agriculture. Very, very well said. I have one last question, but I'll reserve it in case we have time. I'm sure people have back-to-back meetings. I would like you to please answer Erica's question, which she has put in the chat box. I would like to read it out for everybody's benefit. Erica says, can we ask Simone about what she feels are the set of incentives to give to smallholders to make them adopt sustainable and or regen products and practices?
I think there's all the good things that smallholders are doing, and it's for me very important that we take care of stewardship, that we reach out and also make our products available, because that is really something to help them develop, to have all the tools that that everyone has available. So we are really, since the COVID time has also learned us, have used this momentum to reach out much more. Now with the more digital tools and Zoom meetings or whatever, it's much easier to reach out and also reach a higher share of smallholders. So I think this is really helping to shape how farming practices are developing, because it's about the shared knowledge which is out there, which we actively provide, and also the stewardship, and to really show what else of a practice can be done to optimize the farm operations. And again, it's about how does this group or this farmer group have better yield. It's more taking care of the land, taking care for the huge value that they bring in their societal networks. So this is about how I approach it, and this comes then with how we support on pack sizes of package sizes of our solutions, innovations that we sell, the payment terms, and yeah, the use of our products in a safe manner.
Thanks, Simone. Thanks, Erica. In interest of time, we have 1 minute remaining. Simone, on behalf of the audience today and myself, thank you so much for joining us today for this coffee catch-up. Really, really appreciate that. Chris, in the background, thank you so much for all your inputs in the preparation. Dalal, over to you.
Thank you so much. Do you want me to read out some of the questions in the Q&A?
Oh, do we have more questions?
I'm not sure. I think, let me see.
I didn't say any more.
There's no more. Okay, is that the last one from Erica? Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right, perfect. All right, so sorry for that. I thought there were a few more questions. Okay, let me just share my screen again. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's not full screen. All right, so just to let you all know of our upcoming events, especially for September. So we actually have an in-person event coming up on the 21st. This is going to be held in Cult Yard, which is on Pearls Hill Terrace. So this is really just an opportunity for us to do a meet and greet. So, please, scan the QR code and register. You'll also be receiving, I would say a reminder through our EDM. So just, stay tuned. And we also have our October catch-up, which is happening on the 14th. So this is going to be discussing the role of plant science innovation and sustainable agriculture. So there's going to be a lot of amazing topics. Expect, molecular farming and many other great concepts. And last but not least, if you really enjoyed today's session and would like to learn more about us and stay in tune with our latest activities, please do follow us on LinkedIn or get in touch with myself, Sarabi, or any of the WMAG team. So thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to have you all today. Thank you, Sarabi and Simone, for these amazing insights. And we wish you all a pleasant Wednesday.
Thank you for having me and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Dalal, and thank you, Simone.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye. Happy Wednesday.
Bye.